Atkins and pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, party people, let's get into it. Hello, I'm Holly, your host for today. Maddie is not with us. She is sick. So is her husband. And I believe her son was for a little bit too. I don't know if that's how they caught it, but so sad and such a bummer before Christmas. So hopefully we can get her healed up before, traveling and all that kind of stuff. So we're sending healing energy your way, and I hope to see you on the next one. We have a lot to cover. We have a great episode today, but first and foremost, not really, but I have to talk about K-pop Demon Hunters. Have you guys seen this yet? It's on Netflix, and all of the songs are fantastic. It's like an anime situation going on, and it's so good, and it's just about these three girls who are super powerful, and they're demon hunters, and they sing with their voices. They block the demons, and it's just like so beautiful and perfect, and now I know what I want my costume to be at all times for every event that needs a costume. Okay. Anyway, I just had to say that because I'm obsessed, truly obsessed. I've been playing the soundtrack for the last 2 days straight. Okay. I think Leslie would like it. Okay, that's how I'll bring it back. Anyway, so a little bit of a recap from our last episode. We did Farmer's Market, which was so fun. And I actually got some voice memos. I had mentioned this before, but I got some voice memos from Christopher Wolfe, who plays Tyler with 2 Y's, Tyyyler. And I think that's hilarious. And he sent us some voice memos about how he got his audition and some other cool things. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
So I auditioned for this, and it was a guy to farmer's market promoting Swiss chard, and it had this dialogue was written in a certain way, and I was like, how do I make this different? How do I stand out in this? And so I said, maybe I could rap it. So I went in there. It was the old Art Deco building. In the old Samsung building on La Brea, in the middle of like mid-city in LA. And anyway, so I go in there and I rap this thing, and I was like, gosh, I'm not gonna get this. There's no way. and then I got it. It was great. And I show up on set though, and most of my dialogue had been taken away and given to a new character who was played by Owen Burke, who was one of the founding members of UCB and just a legend in comedy. And so I was, partially disappointed, but then also like I understood him. The guy is so good. And I'm sure they just, are always trying to find ways to incorporate the former, Upright Citizens Brigade, crew into their show. And so, but anyway, yeah, so my whole rap was downsized and given to him. And then he just did it. He did it better though. I don't know if a rap would have even been fun, but so that's how I got the part.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny because that's what we were wondering, like what the audition was. So, oh my gosh, great to know. Also, like, I don't know that I would have had that foresight to try to rap, and I wonder if anything like that was, your idea that they had, because he does give like a kind of rap, like pop, hip hop vibe energy. You know what I mean? He didn't necessarily rap a song though, so I do wonder what the song is. I'll have to follow up with you, Christopher, to understand like what the song was about, because there wasn't really much information on that front, and he doesn't really rap in the show. He just has those lines that are like, kind of DJing almost over the beats. So that's really interesting.
So there were 2 actors in the scene, not counting Owen, and then 4 dancers, and these are professional dancers. I mean, really good. I think it was more, but they were all fun people, but really professional. Like they knew all the pros that I'd met before. I mean, they were just very seasoned. So we did some rehearsals where we were gonna all have us dance together and do like a big complicated number, and then they decided just to like have us just be in the background and do our own thing. I don't think it was a reflection on our dancing skills. I do think we were doing a good job, but they left the professional stuff for the pros on the dance front. I got to meet Amy and Adam, and I wish we met more, but it was so fun to meet them. Adam was directing as well. and he was very serious about it. It was cool to see like him in a different light, because you see him as the actor, and you can see him in the director role was really cool. And he had a lot of interesting things to say, because I was thinking at this point my role had been substantially downsized to one line, but still it was he had this way. He's like, okay, what if we could do that like a little sing-songy, and I didn't really understand what he was saying in the beginning, but then I was like, oh yeah, that let's try that, and it worked out great. And I was like, oh gosh, of course, that's it just shows his professionalism. He really knows what he's doing. The energy on set was very positive. Everyone was lovely, like just happy to be there. There's lots of extras who are obviously very happy to be there as well, and you could tell that they've of course this was later in the show, so everyone everyone had like a rhythm to what they were doing.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about how cool it would be to be the extra. I think because I just think it would be cool in any capacity to be a part of parks as an extra, but to be in the farmers market scenes would be so cool. Oh my gosh. And to see all of the charred bodies dancing around, oh my god, that would be amazing. I have heard Adam Scott is very serious as an actor too, like behind the scenes anyway, you know what I mean, like takes his lines and his attitude and everything very seriously, almost like to an intensity level. So it sounds like that is in line with how he treats his work. And yeah, I would have loved to see the dance. Oh my gosh, they should have done that in deleted scenes or something. That would have been so cool. But I guess it takes some pressure off of you to just kind of like vibe in the back. Oh my gosh, though. I have follow-up questions though. Like, did you have rehearsals for this dancing? Like, did you have to do exactly what the choreographer slash the professional dancers were doing? Oh my gosh, I'll follow up. I should have followed up. But usually I like to listen to these usually I like to listen to these whilst on the podcast, not before, just because it's really fun for me to react and hear everything. But, this is maybe changing my tune a bit because I have follow-up questions, sir. Okay, here's the next one.
One thing I didn't expect was in wearing, I knew I'd be wearing a Speedo, but it was, I'm as an actor, you're used to being looked at, you're used to being checked out, but something about the Speedo brought in so much more extra attention that I wasn't. It was unfamiliar attention. It was ramped up, and it gave me a little bit of insight into how, unfortunately, most women feel in this being looked at and checked out constantly, and because it's a different. I guess it's one thing to be accustomed to someone looking at you or looking at your face and just a little giving it an extra look, but to see like these people either trying hard not to look down below your belt or just going for it and thinking that they're being discreet, not realizing that they're not being discreet at all. And I guess, it's a different thing, I guess, when someone's looking at you in the eye or if someone's looking down at a part of you. It's a very, very different experience. That I was not accustomed to. It was interesting though. Like the whole day, it was just a lot of these stealing glances that you would not expect from people, of all ages, and it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Wow, that is so insightful. Oh my God. Yeah, to just feel like you're on display because you truly are at that point. That's so crazy. Well, and yeah, I mean, that Speedo is wild as far as it being like bright green. All attention is drawn to that part of your body, I feel, because it's like the only part that's covered. Oh my God, that is so wild. Well, wow. Thank you for sharing.
I don't know if this is interesting at all, but so for the screening, when you watch it with your friends, and it's a popular show, so people wanted to watch it with me, and so they're like, okay, yeah, let's do a little screening at so and so's house, and so we all gathered at my buddy's house, and I'd already prefaced that it was a one-line, gig. And so, everyone had that warning. But still, like the part came, it went, and immediately after, my buddy who was hosting kind of like stops, like pauses it and turns and goes, "Wait, that's it?" And so I'm like, "Oh gosh, nothing worse than that." But, I've had a couple of those experiences, and those are just, it's par for the course in this, this town, and it makes sense. It is. You go to all this work and all this effort, and it's just this. You see this blip, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that was a lot of work for just a short amount of time." But it was so much fun, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. I can't believe. It's even at that level, it's a dream come true to be even mildly associated with such talent and history.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I understand. But also I wonder, this actor this friend doesn't sound like an actor, because, or like someone who has, I guess they learned from you, but they must not have any experience with someone who is an actor, because yeah, man, that's the gig. That is the gig. Doing one line and having it's a big deal. And I'm here to tell you, I'm here to hopefully, what's the word? I don't know. Put a balm over that memory for you, because if I am the friend, if anyone has 1 second of anything, that's a big fucking deal, man. That's a big deal. And that is something that I think only actors are really aware of, because we're the only ones going through it. Although if you explain it to people who are compassionate, they do understand it. And the fact that like you had prefaced it already with like, "Yo, this is one line and just FYI," and he still said, "That's it." Also, it's not just because it's one line doesn't mean that you, and I mean, no disrespect to this friend. I know that they probably just weren't aware, but it wasn't just the one line too. It was also like you were dancing, you were like a really big part of this whole like storyline. But I know that people who aren't actors maybe don't think of it that way, but you had to be like on your game for this like whole story to come together, I think, which is super cool. And it wasn't only just like one line as a townsperson, like you were, like you said, on display. It was something different. Not every actor has an experience like that. So I feel you. And we're very proud of you, obviously. So hopefully this podcast can be a little bit more of a excitement. You get to talk about it. You're a part of something bigger. And like you said, it's such an honor to be a part of it in any small way. But we definitely are super proud of you. And I think it was not a small part, in my opinion. But obviously, I love this show, and I love when actors get any part. So anyhow, that's my little speech. So thank you so much. But I'm glad you had a screening, though, to like celebrate and everything. That's really important, I think. So hopefully you can look back on it with fond memories, of course.
So as far as, things to promote, what am I working on? It's actually kind of exciting. Amy Poehler reached out. She's been reaching out a lot, because, of course, everyone just wants to see a spinoff of the Swiss chard dancer and Tyler, that's obviously, the studios are really excited about that, just basing, like a character just off of my character right there, and do a whole show that just, it kind of just makes sense, that would be the one spinoff from Parks and Rec, would be that character out of all the seasons and the characters. I'm in a phase of raising a family right now, and that's kind of taking up most of the time. I do stand up, I do improv, and then I have my Instagram account is the_Mastersons, and it's a bunch of characters I do. But that's about it. Thank you so much for including me in this. It's an honor, and I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Oh, that is so nice. Oh my gosh. Your tone of voice, though, in the first half of that voice memo doesn't seem like a joke, but but take it from me. Every time we have a guest star, listen, we want all the spinoffs with all the guest stars, okay? No matter how small, how big, whatever, okay? We'll take it all, and it'll be great. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had some sort of Pawnee guest star, reboot. Listen, I'm here for that. I'd watch it and I would recap it, like I said. Anyhow, so yes, thank you so much for doing that. And yeah, I will definitely follow your Instagram and I'll post that in the show notes for people to follow as well. Congratulations on your family. That's very exciting. And yeah, awesome. I'm going to follow up with the questions that I had in the first couple voice memos. So I'll come back with answers for that, hopefully. Hopefully you won't mind too much that I am asking follow-up questions. Thank you for being so nice and for sharing your time with us. That was so sweet. Yay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Christopher, thank you so much. Christopher Wolfe. Everyone go follow him when you get a chance. All right, people. Moving to our Episode 2 review. Anne and Chris, original air date January 30th, 2014. So we're kind of on the cusp of, actually being in the time frame of like 11 years ago when this aired. Nuts. Written by Aisha Muharrar, who we've seen so much, and you guys definitely have heard her name many times. She is a producer as well. She also works on The Good Place. I believe she writes and produces Hacks, which is so good. It's like my favorite TV show out right now, HBO Max. Go watch it. Lots of Parks people. Mike Schur actually produces that as well. But I call her our baby store star because she was the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Baby store lady when Anne says that she's never seen bibs without a Dale Earnhardt Jr. on them. So I'm going to say that story every single time she writes because that's just how I describe her. And then Mike Schur as well. So both Aisha and Mike wrote this. And this was directed by Dean Holland. So we've got some superstars here, big episodes. So we've only got the best of the best writing and directing team. And fun fact, I think we've talked about this before, but according to IMDb, Rashida Jones actually left the show Parks and Rec, to begin her work on writing Toy Story 4 in 2019 is when that came out. And I think there were other reasons, but I think that was the catalyst. I don't believe that she actually ended up writing a lot on Toy Story 4. I feel like there was some situation going on that I will look into more. And I've already done a breakdown on that actually. But I'll remind people on the next episode. Which is actually kind of ironic because Killian, Maddie's son, is really into Toy Story right now, and that was the theme for the birthday party. So that's super cute. And yeah, it was really a perfect episode to say goodbye, and great to have it be kind of straightforward. There's not a ton of like new things or like, a ton of ABC stories to follow, that are like super groundbreaking or confusing, but it was good because we needed to focus on the friendship and one last partnership / motivation for each other. So it was really perfect. Right now I have it written that we are going to do a summary from Maddie. So if she sends that in, it'll go right here. But if not, you guys know what this is about. It is called Anne and Chris for a reason. We have been working up to this for a very long time. Anne and Chris are leaving. They are going off the show. It is their time. And we're going to focus on some other things and go from there.
Hi there. Here's my summary for Anne and Chris. It's time to say goodbye to Anne and Chris. Leslie throws an extravagant goodbye party, and the guys struggle with a send-off for Chris. I really love this party that Leslie has put together. I've always thought, Holly, that the next time we're together, we need to do this. Like, if we're together for a weekend, we need to set aside, like, okay, this morning is our Galentine's Day, the afternoon is Easter, the next day is Thanksgiving. I think hitting those important holidays that we don't get to spend with each other every year. And, we lived together only for a year, but it feels like, we were together much longer. And so that's why sometimes around the holidays, I'm like, I remember when we built gingerbread houses together and all that kind of stuff. So I thought this is such a beautiful send off that she thought to hit, all those holidays that they typically would be together, and make one last final little memory together. It's such Leslie level effort, it's so her, it's so perfect. So I'm very happy with how that turned out, as sad as I am that they're saying goodbye. And I think, sometimes when there's somebody who's really good at giving gifts, there's just such this high pressure on getting them exactly what what they would want. And sometimes it's not about what you think they would want and more about what you want to send them away with. And I think when that mentality kind of shifts for the guys, that's when they're like, okay, we can build this thing that Chris is going to get use out of, and it's a sentimental thing. And I love that Ron gets upset that Chris puts his tear in there because he's like, it's going to warp the wood. But yeah, this is just all around a sad episode for me, and of course probably for most of you, because we're losing that Leslie Ann connection that's been such a huge drive for the show, and just a huge drive for you and me, Holly. So it's a sad rounding out, but also I think they did a good job. And Leslie, her whole deal of breaking ground on the pit. I love this little scavenger hunt that they leave the party. Leslie did this great job putting together this party, but then they get this moment where they're going to finish this together. Who cares if they're still at the party? They're going to go on this adventure and trade this for that and this for that and this for that to get the keys to unlock the pit and celebrate the big milestones that they've made to get a park there at some point. So yeah, I think just a beautifully done episode, and sad, but the closeout we needed for Chris and Anne to leave, or more so for Rashida and Rob to leave. So yeah, those are my thoughts, and that's my summary, and I will see you in the new year.
Like I said, I did do a breakdown on why Rashida and Rob Lowe left, but I'll just, do it again anyway, because that's the episode that we're on. Essentially, it was a mutual decision with the show's creators, just feeling like it was a natural time for them to move on, especially because Anne wanted to leave too. And let's see, what else did I write? Oh, yeah, because they had stayed longer than they initially planned, and the budget and all these other things. And yeah, so he just thought it was time to move on. Whereas I think Rashida specifically wanted to leave to do Toy Story 4, because she was working more so on writing, which I think that was, something that she really wanted to focus on. Is there anything else that I could... The news about Rob and Rashida is true, says Mike Schur. They'll be leaving the show after the 13th episode of the upcoming season 6. We've been working on their storyline for 4 seasons now, and heading into this year with the two of them contemplating parenthood, it felt like a natural time to move them into the next phase. We absolutely love Rashida and Rob, and we'll be sad to see them go. Rashida was one of the very first people we knew we wanted in the cast, and as important as Anne is to Leslie, and vice versa, she'll certainly never be far from Pawnee. Rob initially thought we could only have for 6 or 8 episodes, and we couldn't be happier that he will have stuck around for 75. Wow. They are funny, committed actors. Ugh. There's an ad that popped up. And they've been a huge part of the Parks and Rec family, and we think we have a great Pawnee send-off in the works for them. Yeah, so we will, I'm going to look into the Toy Story thing a little bit more, but yeah, so that's like her main reason. Okay, so in the opening, we get right into it that Leslie is throwing a huge farewell party for Anne because Anne is leaving. And, Leslie's planning this. She's on the phone. She said casually 3 years ago that indoor fireworks would be cool, so we need to get indoor fireworks. Hello? Which, side note, I guess drone fireworks weren't a thing then. Because otherwise, I know Leslie would have done that. I know they're expensive as hell, but I know that she would have spent money to get drone fireworks for Anne. Are you kidding? That would have absolutely happened. And then they do a flashback of when Anne and Leslie first met. It's so beautiful. I love that. It's more than a promise. It's a pinky promise. And I just love that they show that again. It's so beautiful, and to see how far they've come. Leslie has 103 scrapbooks to capture the friendship, and according to the internet, this is the 103rd episode. How sweet! Oh my god, she was doing a scrapbook per episode. Makes sense. And she reveals that tonight she is breaking ground on the pit that is now a park, and that is the biggest surprise of tonight. Well, it's not now a park yet, but it's going to be a park. But she's breaking ground on it. And that is a huge deal because, like the flashback indicated, this is why their friendship started, how this, got this far, how we got this far. And that is going to fulfill her promise of 5 years ago. Then they show the ice cream sandwich scrapbook, which was their biggest fight. I think that's really funny. The scrapbook titles that Leslie has made for Anne include Thoughts on Sam Waterston, Nurse Anne, Eat, Read, Eat, Pray, Love, Talk, the mystery of the woman we saw in Food and Stuff who looked like Isla Fisher. Eat, Read, Eat, Pray, Love, Talk was one. And then the mystery of the woman we saw in Food and Stuff who looked like Isla Fisher is the second one. Next one is First Text Message, Road Trips 100 Miles or More, The Breakfast Album, Halloween, Kelly Clarkson Concerts 1, 2, and 3, Galentine's Day, and Pregnant. Oh my God, I love these names. So anyhow, Harold comes in all in a tizzy because Public Works never signed off on Pawnee Commons breaking ground. So he is like, what the F? You went over my head. I hate this. And side note, before we get into the next part of Leslie confronting / soothing Harold, he is played by Chris Bauer, who has been in so many things. I actually thought he had been in Parks before, just because I've seen him in so many other things, and he fits in so perfectly as a Public Works person. So I was like, oh, of course. But no, this is his first episode and last episode. And he was also in The Office when Jim and Dwight go to another branch. The episode was called Turf War there, and so it's Jim and Dwight and Chris Bauer all going to try to get these other branches or whatnot. But he's also been in Modern Family, Bosch Legacy, Thunderbolts, Poker Face, so many incredible things. So well done to Chris Bauer, aka Harold, and that was super fun. And yeah, he just fits in so well. And Leslie was ready. She's standing in her doorway. She's holding the treat. She pushes him out as soon as he is like, "Was there a little crunch in there? Hazelnut." That was really good. She knew that was going to happen. Because she did go over their head because it just took a long time to get things moving, and she needs this done now, and she needs it done right. So obviously she's going to get it done. Okay, so now all the boys are helping them move boxes, and Chris gets emotional every time he talks about moving or boxes or really anything. Lots of boxes have their names on it, and he's calling them, the boxes that have the names, buddy boxes. And each box contains a memento of their friendship. That's so cute, buddy box. I love that. Ron got a bronze hamburger for their hamburger / turkey burger debate / competition. So beautiful. 2008 state audit spreadsheet for Ben, which is so fun. I love that. For Andy, we've got a mouse wrap poster. For Jerry, you can just about see his face in the picture that Chris gives him of officiating Ben and Leslie's wedding, which is so perfect. What a perfect gift. And Jerry's so moved and touched by it. Tom gets snake juice, which I think it was a really fun, detail that snake juice was technically destroyed by the FDA. That's how awful it was. And Chris went to some black markets to get it. So I think that's a really sweet idea. And that would be a really good idea for, like, if you're looking for a friend gift, even if you're not moving away. You know what I mean? This party that Leslie throws is so incredible. All the holidays. Like, how much money did this cost? This looks incredible. We learn later, if you're paying attention, that it's at the Pawnee Super Suites. There is an exterior shot of that. So it's at a hotel, probably at some sort of conference room situation. But damn, it looks so cool. I love it. Oh my gosh, there was a Talk Like a Pittsburgh Pirate Day, which was on the calendar. If you guys remember that Leslie gave her, and they were like, Ben and Anne had their little moment of they each have calendars that celebrate all their holidays. Wild. Ain't no party like a Leslie Nope party, because a Leslie Nope party is actually 30 parties. Love this. This is such a great idea. She's out-noped herself. So now the boys are giving Chris a gift card for a store called Pots and Pans. And Chris is actually looking for some pots, but then Ben breaks the news that it's only really for 3 pans, actually. So not quite the sentimental, nice gift that Chris had given them, or not quite up to par with that. There is a corner for Chris, though, at the party that Leslie is throwing, and it's just carob cookies and berries, which Chris loves. So now they're trying to figure out a better gift for Chris because, yeah, that won't do. I feel like that's not enough at all. And Tom comes up with the gift of 3 C's: cashmere, concert tickets, caboodles of cash. And Ben is like, that's not a present for Chris, though. That sounds like what you would like. And I think it's kind of true in a way that that's a good gift for anybody. Maybe not a thoughtful gift. Maybe if you're just trying to, like, start somewhere, unless, you know, Tom, if you got that for Tom and Donna, yes, that is thoughtful. But maybe if you're not really sure what to get someone, I do feel like cashmere, concert tickets, and caboodles of cash could absolutely be a great starting point. Or you could just get them that I would like all of those things too. But you would just have to figure out what concert to go to. That's important. So now Donna and Anne are talking, and Donna says she's going to run this town dating-wise once Anne leaves because, you know, they both were in the dating world. And then we see this sexy leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day, I'm assuming, and they make, like, sexy eyes, and Donna's like, oh, but Anne saves her because he's very gay. Super cute baby bump. I love that. This is Steven, the character name, which I love, and he's played by the actor Kelvin Millhouse. This Parks credit, like this episode in 2014, is one of 3 things, and that was the last thing listed. So I know that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not acting, but I can't find any information on him. So great work, Kelvin. That was super funny. I laughed out loud. So if you want to talk, or if anyone knows Kelvin, let me know, because that was fantastic, and I'd love to hear how that day went. And to see all the parties. Oh my gosh, how exciting. Ron is grilling indoors, by the way. Like, that can't be up to code, right? That can't be legal. Maybe, question mark. But Ron loves all the meats, and that's exciting for him to really like this party because of all the meats. Because of Thanksgiving, turkey, and all the things that come with it, Christmas ham, all that. So April is on the lot ahead of time to make sure everything's going to go according to plan to break ground at the pit. And turns out Public Works actually put a giant padlock on there, and there's a no trespassing sign and a sign that says, like, no Leslie Nope. And I love Leslie's line here in the writing of, like, well, there's a Leslie Nope in this other state, so they must be talking about him. They're talking about him, right? And there's a literal picture of her and 2 security guards blocking it / like guarding it. So that sucks, which we thought we had it covered, but yikes. I love that Oren is there as a fun bunny, and yeah, with his face covered up and him waving happily, he totally doesn't seem like Oren. That's beautiful. And I think that's his last episode. I don't believe we see him again. I could be wrong, but yeah. Anne is now talking to Ben, and they're giving each other advice on their intense partners and how to calm them down. And Chris is dancing all around because he's the only one on the dance floor because he's proving that the song that's playing is in fact dance music. That's that song, Come Around a Little. Na, 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 we can get it on. Yeah, it's so crazy. Now Andy comes up, and he just remembered that they used to actually go out. And Anne was like, yeah, we lived together for 2 years. It is wild to think about, and we've talked about this many times, where, like, you almost forget that they ever dated, and so did Andy. You know what I mean? We're finally at that point where we have gone way too far and don't even need the memory of them together. But it's very important because that is why Pratt stayed so long, and why he was, you know, he was only meant to be on there for the first 6 episodes. And look at him now. He is all over Parks and Rec and stayed for way longer than he was meant to. So it is important that they dated because that's where it all started. But it is wild to think about that. Yeah. And I'm really proud of Anne for getting as far as she has and not taking care of him. I love that also Andy has no idea why she's leaving or where she's going. Have fun in Mexico. Where did he get that from? Oh my God. Leslie keeps calling Harold and trying to get, you know, something done here about the padlocks and, you know, not being able to break ground. And as city manager, Ben can't technically do anything. And Leslie's like, what is even the point then of being married to you? And he's like, hopefully some other things are the point. But I kind of agree. Like, I obviously know that this is not right, like legally or city code wise or whatever the hell, but I kind of agree that in this regard, being married to the city manager should do something, because city managers, and maybe it's because Ben's new, but I feel like a lot of bureaucrats give a lot of people passes for random ass things, and they get a call from their friend and they help their friend out and give a favor to them. And I feel like Ben could have done something. I'm sorry. I know I'm being very Leslie, but I feel like Ben could have done something and been like, hey, boys, we'll figure this out. We'll fill out all the appropriate forms as soon as you, like, get out of here. And, you know, it's just proving again that Leslie's going to have to do this on her own. But then we learn Anne can get a little crazy too. So they have a little mess around moment and solve problems, and it's beautiful. Okay. Moving on. Tom now has a moment with Anne, and his gift to her is deleting her from his phone, which is a great gift. And I love this story that he concocts in his mind of, like, she's going to come to a bar that I own, and then I'm going to let her in the back door because she's too old. And then this whole moment, this was really funny. Jerry has a genuine, beautiful moment with Anne, and Anne is like, okay, that's nice. Like, thank you. And then Ron says, like, two very vague words, and she immediately starts sobbing and crying. And so does Jerry. And oh my gosh, it's so good. So then all the stuff they got for Chris is kind of bad again and annoying and just not personal at all. In fact, one of the things is his own jacket, which, like, I know what Andy means when he says, well, no, he likes it, but still not good. So they still got to figure something out. So Leslie finally tells Anne about the Pawnee Commons groundbreaking and how it's not happening because she's being blocked by Harold / these public works dummies. And I love this for Anne. I just feel like, we haven't seen her a ton do this part except for maybe during flu season. I love not mean Anne, but yeah, mean Anne too. But, like, you know, forceful Anne. I love dedicated, like, let's fucking go tenacity Anne. You know what I mean? Tenacious, I guess. Tenacious Anne. Tenacious A. I love that. She's like, screw Harold. We don't take no for an answer. We wait for no man. Okay. And so we go to Harold's to get him, you know, the F off of our surprise for Anne. And Leslie's like, knock or ring the doorbell. And she's like, bust in and announced. And I'm like, okay, good thing he didn't lock the door, because that was a really fun moment for you. So Anne says, look, give us the key for anything you want in exchange, but nothing gross. And so apparently we find out that Sweetums used to stock their office with free sodas, and now Harold wants that back in exchange for the key. I love the name, Super Fizzy Fruit Pop, for the soda. Oh my God. And Leslie's like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's like, that's super easy. And it's not easy because Sweetums hates her. Everybody does. Catherine Pinewood of the Restaurant Association, the Sweetums lady herself. Like, come on. They are not a fan of Leslie. And I'm kind of surprised in a way, maybe because Pinewood is over, like, all of the restaurant stuff, but I'm surprised that the Sweetums lady isn't there, like Ben's old boss. Like, what's she doing? Maybe she wasn't available for shooting. I feel like she should have been the one to really be, you know, in charge of that. I know that she's like the CEO or whatever the fuck, but, like, whatever. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Doesn't matter. So, moving on. Chris is talking to Donna / April, and they have a very sweet moment. And yeah, they have a moment where Donna always thought Chris was hot, which of course is very nice. And Donna grabs his butt, and it's very cute. Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about this, but I do want to just, like, mention it because this is our review / rewatch show. I don't know what it is, but I'm just really over April being mean / pretending she doesn't care about Anne leaving. I think I'm just tired of it. Like, the gig's over, kind of. Like, it's not really funny to me anymore. And I know I'm taking it more seriously than it needs to be, but, like, you know, we've gone further than that. Like, April's come really far. She doesn't have to be like this. You know what I'm saying? It's just, like, kind of annoying at this point. But that's just my 2 cents. And I know we'll get there. And she does get a redeeming moment with Anne. And I love that. But it's just kind of like, ugh, this again. You know what I mean? I do love that she has a smile moment, though, here that shows she cares. Like when Chris talks to her or whatever. But yeah. So we're talking to Catherine Pinewood now, played by Mary Faber, who, by the way, we did a full interview with, so you should definitely check that out. I'll post it into the show notes. And And she's just as awful as ever, saying she doesn't have time for disgraced politicians and unmarried pregos. Ew, like, get off your high horse, you weirdo. God. And she's so gross, bringing up the fact that, like, I seem to remember you were recalled. Is that right? And she's the one that effing led the recall vote. Ugh, how dare you? And I love this moment. I love it. Leslie's like, how dare you? And Anna's like, hey, stop. It's not worth it. And you think that she's just going to walk away. But she's like, it's not worth it for you. And oh my gosh, she puts Catherine Pinewood in a headlock, which I think we've all been wanting to do this to the Sweetums people, whether it be Pinewood or the other Sweetums lady. Okay. Like, we really needed to get Sweetums off our freaking back. Okay. Now, not violence is not the answer. It's just not. But when Anne does it, it's funny. And she is a pregnant lady, and this is like really important. And she's not punching her or knocking her on the ground or kicking her teeth in. So I'm not saying that it's acceptable, but I'm saying that Anne is perfect in this moment. Okay. I do remember, I was going to mention, I do remember Mary Faber saying this was all very choreographed and it wasn't as crazy as it looks. Like it wasn't as like painful or weird as it looks, but they both did a really good job. Rashida of like holding her, and then Pinewood being like kind of like hard to breathe talking. They did a really good job with that. So I'm sure it was still a little crazy, but yeah, all of that kind of fight scene stunt stuff is very choreographed with like the safety team and all that kind of stuff beforehand. So anyhow, let's see here. Because of the headlock, Sweetums, or Pinewood decides to break a little and says that Sweetums needs a spokesperson to endorse their new sports drink. And that is what it'll take to get the sodas back in the public works, office. So to get the key. So now we're at another roadblock. My gosh. We see Pistol Pete, and it has been forever. I love that we're seeing him. By the way, this actor is Tuck Watkins, and he's done a ton of things. And this is his last episode. It's so sad, but also fantastic. And you know what? I was researching like how many episodes he's been in. Did you know that he's only been in 3 episodes? Why do I feel like he's been in so much more? I feel like it's because he left such an impression on the episode of the Comeback Kid during, the dunking on ice situation during Leslie's campaign moment and the get on your feet moment and all these things, and then crying in front of Anne, or we were told that he cried in front of Anne, and then, asking Anne out and Anne saying she's like with somebody. No, she's not. Like Leslie saying she's not. It's just like that was such a memorable moment. So I feel like he's such a part of the park's lore that I am so obsessed with, his whole storyline. And it just makes it feel like he's been on the show forever / 9,000 times, but he really hasn't. But he's still kind of in his moment of, well, not moment, but, his life of not wanting to be associated with basketball, not wanting to be associated with this legend that, he did in high school. And Leslie's like, yeah, I don't even think it's about basketball. Like, it's totally fine. But it's literally called Sweetums Dunktastic 3-Point B-Ball Blast. The names of these sodas, man, the Super Fizzy Fruit Pop and 3-Point B-Ball Blast. Are they saying all that? It's so funny. I mean, Harold said the full thing, man. So that marketing team. Yeah, so the slogan's all about basketball. So it looks like they are not going to get Pistol Pete, sadly. So they got to figure something else out. Side note, I thought that, I don't know, you guys will have to tell me if you agree if you rewatch this, but it looks like they're in a hotel. It doesn't look like his house, unless his house is like really sterile looking in the background. Do you know what I mean? I was noticing like the curtains and stuff, and I was like, this doesn't look like a home, But maybe it was. So now we are going to our second option, Purd, for spokesperson. And Anne says, please, for old time's sake, what the hell? And he agrees, which is great. But gross, Anne. Not gross. I don't know. No. I just don't think Anne nope, that's not necessary to have that. But I just had this note too, like what a fantastic way to bring back so many guest stars. That's so smart on this last moment, with Leslie and Anne. The writing here is brilliant as far as making sure that they get through the bureaucratic red tape like they're known to do, not only as coworkers now, but as friendship, as mentors to each other, as like people who really are there for each other and want to, break through these roadblocks. So it's really lovely to not only do that, but then bring together all of these guest stars that we love so much, and have them be a part of it. It's really fantastic. Okay, so there Tom goes again with the crying because they're still trying to figure out a gift for Chris, and he's like, just start crying, whatever, it's fine. Weird. Tom, we've grown up. You can think of something other than crying. And Ron is like, yo, I don't get this. I shook the man's hand. Okay. Like that's the best gift basically Ron could have ever given. Like I was really sentimental with his ass. Okay. That's enough. Oh, and then we see Chris Traeger wearing a JFK mask, and he says the line from Kennedy's inauguration speech, and that's funny because the internet said that he played JFK in the movie Killing Kennedy in 2013, which was the year prior, right? Yeah, it was the year prior. So he must have shot that when Parks was on the hiatus kind of thing, which, that would make sense. The boys just tell Chris that they feel bad. They didn't get anything for him that even comes close to Chris's thoughtfulness. And Chris was like, that's okay. We need to look forward to the future. I don't want to focus on the past. And Ben has an idea when Chris talks about the future. So we'll get to that in a moment. So then Leslie and Anne bust into Harold's house again and told them everything is solved. You got your sodas back. We talked to Sweetums. We talked to Purd, blah, blah, blah. Give me the key. And he's like, okay, fine. You two are real pains in the asses. You know that? And I love that. That's probably my favorite line. Like, that is the best compliment you could ever give the two women standing in front of you. Because it is. They did it. So now we're at the Pawnee Commons. Beautiful. But the ceremonial ribbon guy isn't available anymore. And that sucks because that was another part of the surprise that it could be like official. I do love that Leslie's like, if a raccoon comes close, make yourself really large, like a pufferfish, because she's like trying to get rid of them. And then she goes away to get rid of the raccoons. And April and Anne have this moment that we were talking about before, which is very sweet. And Anne is like really showing how truly Anne she is in character, like so mature, so grounded, saying she loves them both. She loves April and Andy both, and she's really happy for them. And April's like, why would you be happy for us? And Anne is like, I love you both, so why wouldn't I be happy? And that kind of gets April to break down in her sentimental moment, and she says, I love you, but she can't really pronounce the words. She's just mumbling them. And for Anne, that's enough. She says that that's the present that she's going to give April as like a going away moment. Like, I won't make you audibly say that you love me. And that's really nice. They hug and they have a special moment, and Leslie comes back and calls it out. And it's cute. I do like how they rounded that out. So the boys arrive in the morning to Chris's house, and we learn about another race run, I guess, that he goes on, Beat the Sun Run. So it must be like 4 a.m. I was like, oh my gosh, 2 episodes in a row we've had him running at all hours of the day. And they give him a box that Ron has like 900 detailed things to say about, and I'm very sorry, but I don't have it all memorized, nor did I write it down, because only Ron can really explain / talk about it. But it is a wooden box that Ron definitely made, and Ben explains it's an empty buddy box to fill with memories for your little buddy. And that is so special. I love that so much. They all burned their initials into it, which is so sweet. Jerry burned like 9,000 signatures or initials into it because he didn't know which one would work best. I love that gift. I think that's a great gift for a parent maybe, or a new parent rather. Or I don't know, a box. I love a personalized box for anyone. Like if you have a scrapbooking person, that maybe that's where they keep all their scrapbooking, or they just keep cute memories in there. I don't know. It's a really good gift. I love that. Chris wants to put his saltwater tear in there, which I thought was very cheesy. He wants that to be his first memory. But Ron says that saltwater will warp the woods, so keep your tears in your eyes where they belong. Okay, so now Leslie and Anne are talking at our favorite place at the Pawnee Commons with all the memories they'll be calling each other for, all the things that they need to be on the phone for. The Oscars, anytime she has a feeling about Jennifer Aniston, or is it Jennifer Garner? I don't remember, but yeah. And they really did change each other in so many wonderful ways. It's so beautiful. And Anne says that a tulip skirt is not Leslie's shape. I love that they ended that last little sentimental moment with a little bit of a comedy note, which, side note, I had to look up what a tulip skirt was. It kind of looks like a wrap skirt. So like there's a top panel of the skirt. And obviously, if you guys know what this is, you can skip ahead 15 seconds, but I did not know. And so anyway, there's like a top panel of the skirt and then there's a bottom panel. So it kind of does look like a little tulip flower. And it's really cute. I don't know if it would be my shape, but I've never owned one. So maybe I should get one. So then they figure out that the ceremonial, or not figure out, but they kind of come to terms with the fact that the ceremonial ribbon guy is not going to make it. So again, we wait for no man. We're going to do it ourselves. I love that. And yay, we're breaking ground. Oh my God, we have come so far. 6 seasons in the making to make Pawnee Commons, and all of the trials and tribulations that they've had, not only for the park, but for their friendship and for their relationships with each other and their fight that they had. It's just like it's all coming, to a close, and well, maybe not a close, but just like a new chapter. And it's so sweet. And I think this was really, really well done. There is a beautiful deleted scene here. Their actual moment was a little longer, and I actually think we should hear all of it. So I'm going to play it for you.
Oh, I managed to fit 100 of the scrapbooks into the van. I left the last 3 in your office, so I guess I'll just have to drive back someday soon and pick them up.
Classic leave behind.
The truth is, you're going to be fine. I don't know about me. If I hadn't met you at that town hall meeting, I don't know what my life would have been like. I would have been in a dead-end relationship, working overtime at the hospital. I mean, even my hair's improved.
Well, that style just frames your face so much better.
I know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Being away from you is going to be really, really hard. But I am going to take some Leslie Knope spirit with me to Michigan. I joined a community improvement group, and there's a dirty abandoned lot by my mom's house, and it is going to get noped hard.
Oh, Ann Perkins. You perfect sunflower. You totally changed me.
And then we get to the Anne part, the Anne Leslie part of how Leslie changed, or how Anne changed Leslie as well. But we cut that Anne part out, and I understand for time and everything, but I needed you guys to hear that. That was so special to have it reciprocated in that way. And yeah, she makes a great point. Who would she be if she was not with Leslie getting that lot filled? Like, if she didn't come to that town hall meeting, like, would she still be taking care of Andy? Like, maybe, because it had been 2 full years. I just think it's really important to think about. Oh my God. Okay. So now they have the proper kick-ass helmets. Each one says kick-ass instead of one saying kick and the other saying ass. This is a callback to the hats in previous seasons. And then they somehow bring the park bench in there. It's so cute. They really needed to. They needed to do that because I talked about when Mark left, they had the park bench, and Mark, as much as people maybe not love him, he was an instrumental part in making the Pawnee Commons like real. He was the one that told Leslie, just fucking do it and ask for forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? So it was really nice for all the park, like the literal Pawnee Commons park people, to be on that bench as they leave. And I just think it was really special. Oh my God. Okay, then we get to our sad moment. Well, not sad, bittersweet maybe. So we're on a new scene, and the moving company is called Lurpus Moving Company. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? This is their family business. Oh my God. And it could also be a front for some drugs. listen, I really feel that's where we're at right now. But yay, so they hired Lurpus Moving Company. It's so nice that Chris and Ben have a lovely friendship best moment. Oh my God. And like, you're the best friend that I'll ever have. That was really special and so good. Okay. Chris and Leslie have a moment too, which is so nice after everything they've done. That's a big relationship as well to have, with your boss and, who's going to be approving all your crazy plans. And then Dr. Richard Nygaard gets a shout out, which I love that we bring him back to in addition to all of the in-person guest stars. And I love this line that Leslie has. Oh my God. Maybe this is my favorite line. I don't know. It's my favorite little moment because I think I said this at Maddie's wedding, actually, in my speech. I really do believe that. I've definitely said it to her anyway, but like where she says, I thought there was no man good enough for Ann Perkins. And I still think that. But if there is no one actually good enough for her, you are pretty damn close. And I think that's a wonderful sentiment for any lady friendship, okay? Because their relationships, I feel like I just want them to be not better. They can't be better necessarily. But I want, everyone to be happy. So, but no one's good enough for my friends. See what I'm saying? Oh my God. And playing Wildflowers. Are you kidding? Like Tom Petty, my heart is just, and they play Tom Petty. I don't know whose decision this is, but they play Tom Petty every single time there is a really fun, fun is the strong word, but anytime there's a very intense gear shift. They played Tom Petty during Harvest Festival. Now they're playing it when they're leaving. Anytime there's a chapter shift, I think that's a really big deal. And I don't know if they did it on purpose, but it's perfect and I love it. And Wildflowers, and it's playing, saying like you belong among the wildflowers and somewhere you feel free. And I think Anne, we've been looking at this from Leslie's perspective, and I understand I'm going really deep on the Tom Petty song, but I think we've been looking at this from Leslie's side where it's like, why are you moving? You have everything you need right here. But from Anne's side, maybe she doesn't feel as free. Maybe she doesn't feel as home, as cozy as she could be, not only in herself, but like with her family that she's starting, and she wants family around when she's going to have her baby. So like Wildflowers, you never know really what that song is about because Petty, we'll just never know. Is it a breakup song? I don't know, but it really goes with anyone who's going on a new chapter, and it really works for Anne. So I'm very excited about that for her, that it's playing when she leaves, but oh my God, I love it. And now Leslie is crying, Anne is crying, and it's very sad. And it's so hard to think of Leslie without Anne. Like, I really can't believe it that this is kind of like the next step. And it's just like a big deal. But it was done really well. And I'm really proud of them, the writers, the cast, everybody for getting through this and for the way that they handled it. It was really special because they really could have messed it up. I mean, I have no doubt that the Parks people would succeed in the way that they're telling the story. But there have been shows where you're just like, oh, they're just gone now. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So they did this so well, and I'm so proud of them. And Ron suggests breakfast, which is so sweet of him. And, Leslie saying, I don't know, is really hard, I feel, for us to see, just because like breakfast food does solve everything for her and Ron. And so she's going through it, and she'll be going through it for a while. And then again, just like Harvest Festival, they have a drone shot, which is so cute. They haven't done that, I don't think, since Harvest Festival, actually. I don't remember seeing a drone shot. So I think it's really nice that they're doing that as a little closure moment, little special effects moment. Maybe they had a budget. I don't know. But very, very nicely done as far as the ending goes. Okay, and before I end, I really wanted to look up the Rashida Jones debacle. It wasn't a debacle. It's just like the situation. And so she was originally hired as a writer for Toy Story 4 with partner Will McCormick, but they left the project in 2017 due to creative and philosophical differences, not unwanted advances as initially reported. Their departure highlighted concerns about the lack of diverse voices in leadership at Pixar, though Jones clarified they did not leave because of sexual misconduct, but rather systemic cultural issues. She did receive a story by credit and voiced the character Knifey in the film's mid-credits scene. So, 2017, I believe, is when it came out, but she was leaving in 2014 to go start writing it, so there's a whole story on that. I'll post this as well. But yeah, and I think she still has that writing partner, McCormick, And yeah, they were brought on, and they were the story was supposed to be a romantic comedy focused on Woody and Bo Peep, but they exited because of certain allegations, and it just didn't work out, I guess. But yeah, so I wonder, I mean, I still think she wanted to leave to pursue other things. It wasn't just for Toy Story 4, as far as I know, but I do feel that it was, that sucks if like that didn't work out. I hope everything is like okay. So I'd like to know more information. But yeah, it just sucks that she left to do that and then it didn't work out, but it's okay. I think, like I said, I'm going to keep repeating myself that I think she left for other reasons in addition to that. But the point is, they did a great job ending this chapter of our lives with Anne and Leslie, and I'm just so happy. Thank you to Christopher Wolfe for sending in amazing voice memos. I will get back with you with the questions that we're looking for, or that I'm looking for, I should say. I don't know if anyone else is. But thank you all so much for listening. We hope you have such a wonderful holiday, whatever holiday you're celebrating. If you're not celebrating any holidays and maybe you just have like a day off of work, or even if you don't, we're just wishing you all the best and hope you have a really lovely time with family if you've got family, and if not, hopefully you have us to keep you company, or somebody, or yourself to keep you company, because listen, alone time is really needed right now. And I hope that you have a lovely new year, and thank you so much for spending 2025 with us. It has been so lovely to do this podcast with you guys, and I am so grateful that I got to talk to as many people as I did. All of the guest stars, all of the cast and crew that messaged us, that had either full interviews or voice memos or short interviews, whatever it was. We are forever grateful, and I am just so excited to get into the rest of these seasons because we're rounding out the story, man, and we're getting there. So I'm just so appreciative, and I thank you all so much because I am first and foremost a fan. And that is how it will always remain. So thank you all so much. And just, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. And Happy New Year. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.